Hey guys, Jim here, coming back with another video. Today I wanted to do a response video for Huck Sports Cards. He is celebrating his 200 subscribers. He has surpassed that, and he's doing a giveaway, and he is asking for response videos. He wants to know our top 5 players that we watched growing up. And so I've got my players here ready to go. I had found out about Huck's channel a couple months ago. He had left a message on one of my videos. It was one of my videos that I had done recapping from the National, and he left me a couple of comments there, and so I went and checked out. I noticed that he also had a channel, so I went and checked it out, and I subbed to him, and I have been enjoying his content since then. So I will leave a link in the description. You can go check out his channel if you're not familiar with it already. So anyway, my top 5 players that I watched growing up. So there's going to be a theme here. So first of all, when I was a kid, see, I'm an old guy. My brain thinks like I'm still in my teens or early 20s, but I'm actually an old guy. And when I was a kid, there was no cable, no internet, nothing like that, no ESPN. Basically, the players that you watched consistently were whatever your local team happened to be, in my case, the Red Sox. And so most of the players that I really watched consistently growing up were on my team, the Red Sox, because they were broadcast locally. Of course, the local news covered them, local newspapers. And so those were the players that I watched consistently. And so, I mean, we had, of course, you always knew about the other players from, news, and, obviously your team played against all these other teams, so you learned about the other players. Of course, Saturday mornings, must-watch TV was This Week in Baseball. Such a great show. I always couldn't wait to watch that on Saturday mornings. And, they're always the highlights from all over Major League Baseball was shown there. And also, we had Monday Night Baseball back then, which similar to what Monday Night Football is now. Every Monday night on ABC, they had a game. It was most every Monday night anyway. They broadcast a game nationally, and, it was a good chance to get to watch other teams play. I remember that Bob Uecker, I believe, was a fixture on that Monday Night Baseball, along with Don Drysdale too, from what I remember, along with a bunch of other guys as well. But yeah, it was pretty cool. So, but for me, I'm gonna go with my team, the Red Sox. Top 5 players that I liked growing up, or I enjoyed watching as I was growing up. So there's going to be a theme here again. 1976. I was 8 years old, and that was the first, I had known about baseball before the Red Sox. My family, everybody, the games were always on and so forth. But when I was around 8 years old in 1976, I really started getting into baseball, really started playing baseball, and really, that was the year that I really I lived and breathed baseball pretty much. And so I'm going to start off with the first player here. This is Jim Rice, and this is his 1976 Topps card. And so, of course, Jim Rice, such a great player for the Red Sox. He played his entire 16-year career with them. He had 2,452 career hits, 382 home runs, 1,451 career runs batted in, and a 298 batting average for the career. Also an 8-time All-Star, 1978 American League MVP, 3-time American League home run leader in 1977, 78, and 83, and also a 2-time American League run batted in leader in 78 and 83. And he also had 2 Silver Slugger awards. When he was in his prime, hitting home runs, man, you never knew. Anytime he came to the plate, you were hoping that he would hit one, and a lot of times he did. And he was kind of a surly guy in his career. Didn't really interview much or anything. But now he's been an analyst on NESN for Red Sox games, and he's really very insightful and actually very enjoyable to listen to. So next up, I've got the 1976 Topps Dwight Evans card. And of course, Dwight Evans had a 20-year Major League career, 19 of which were with the Red Sox. He's got 2,446 career hits, 1,384 runs batted in, 385 career home runs, 8-time Gold Glove winner, also a 2-time Silver Slugger Award winner. And he got the second most career games played with the Red Sox, behind only Carl Ustremski. And what a great outfielder. He played right field. The guy had such a strong arm. I always remember him throwing guys out at the plate from right field, and just a great defensive outfielder. And his career batting numbers are very similar to Jim Rice's. Of course, Rice put those numbers up in 16 years, where it took Evans 20. But definitely would like to see him get more consideration for the Hall of Fame. I think he definitely belongs in the Hall of Fame, but then again, I'm biased. So next, I wanted to show Carlton Fisk. Of course, he had a 24-year Major League career, and 11 of them were with the Red Sox. 2,356 career hits, 376 home runs, 1,330 runs batted in. And he was an 11-time All-Star, 3-time Silver Slugger. And he was the first player to be unanimously voted as the Rookie of the Year and for the American League, and that was in 1972. And of course, he's best known for his dramatic game-winning home run that he hit in the 1975 World Series, when he waved his arms hoping for the ball to remain fair, which it did. And that was in the 12th inning of the 1975 Game 6 World Series. And so he is second in career home runs by a catcher, behind only Mike Piazza. And he is second in games played by a catcher, behind only Ivan Rodriguez. I remember when he left, man, some screw up with the Red Sox, and they didn't renew his contract, and he became a free agent, and he ended up going to the White Sox. I was so upset about that, so mad. 1981, I believe. But anyway, that's Carlton Fisk. Next, Louis Tiant. He had a 19-year Major League Baseball career. 8 of them were with the Red Sox. 229, sorry about the glare, 229 wins, 172 losses, and a 3.30 earned run average for the career, and also 2,416 career strikeouts. And so I mentioned before, just loved to watch this guy pitch. Such a big game pitcher. Like when he had the lead, there was no, in his prime, there was no beating him once he had the lead. I can remember as a kid, Louis Tiant had this really funky pitching motion, and I had mentioned this before, but he would like almost spin around and to where his back was facing the plate, and then he would spin back around and fire the ball, to home plate. And I can always remember trying to emulate that pitching motion when I was a kid, like playing with my friends and stuff. So cool. But there is a great documentary about Louis Tiant. It's called The Son of Havana, and it was made in 2009. So the story with Tiant is when he was young, he was born and raised in Cuba, and he became a really good baseball player. And of course, his father was one of the greatest baseball players ever to come out of Cuba. He was a Cuban player. But anyway, when Louis Tiant was young, he got a 3-month, I guess it was a visa, to play in the Mexican League. and he went in hopes of catching the eye of a major league scout, and which he did. And in 1961, he was signed to a contract by the Cleveland Indians. And unfortunately, in the summer of 1961 was also the Bay of Pigs invasion, and there was a lot of turmoil in Cuba, and basically relations between Cuba and the United States were completely broken off, and Castro took a strong grip on the country of Cuba. And at that point, the Cuban government told all baseball players that they had to return to Cuba and play as amateurs or permanently stay out of the country. And so Tiant, at the advice of his father, decided to stay in America. And so he was exiled from Cuba. He was not allowed to return. And the documentary is The Lost Son of Havana, and it documents 46 years later, he returned to Cuba. It was a baseball tournament, and he was allowed to come in with the team to Cuba, and he was able to meet up with his family and see his country that he hadn't been able to see for 46 years. So it's hard to find, but if you can find that documentary, if you're interested, it's a really great watch. And of course, he's such a great guy. But anyway, last but not least, I would be remiss if I didn't include my guy, Carl Ustremski. Of course, I've spoken quite a bit about Ustremski over the course of my time here on YouTube. Just such a great player. I mean, 23-year career with the Red Sox, 18-time All-Star, 7-time Gold Glove winner. First American League player ever to reach 3,000 hits and 400 career home runs. He's second on the all-time list for games played and third for total at-bats. And he's a Red Sox all-time leader in career runs batted in, runs, hits, singles, doubles, total bases, games played. He's just got so many records with the Red Sox especially. He's third on the team list for home runs behind only Ted Williams and David Ortiz. So, 1967 American League MVP, and also won the Triple Crown that year. So just such a great player. I love this card, this follow-through swing of his. And that's my guy. Yes, so that's it. Those are my 5 favorite players that I liked growing up. And I will leave a link in the description of Huck Sports Cards. If you're not familiar, go check them out. And that's all I got. Appreciate everyone watching. Bye for now.